Good afternoon. I'm Mr. Romines, and today we're going to talk about the Bill of Rights. Now let's do a quick overview of the material we'll cover today. First, we'll cover a few very important vocabulary words together. Then, I'll break down why it was written, who wrote it, and what the Bill of Rights is. Finally, we'll take a quick look at the most famous parts of the Bill of Rights itself. So let's begin with a few very important vocabulary words. The first one is ratify. Ratify. To ratify something means to sign it or to give formal consent to a document or treaty, making it officially valid. The second word is amendment. An amendment is a minor change or addition to a legal document. Now that we know the important words for today, let's talk a little bit about our historical background. The Constitution was written by a committee, which was appointed by the Constitutional Convention. Their job was to form a document that stated the general consensus that the Constitutional Convention had already come to. When it came time to ratify the Constitution, some people weren't exactly in favor. Many states, like Virginia and South Carolina, had representatives who wanted a specific list of rights and restrictions upon the government in order to feel comfortable ratifying a governmental system. So, James Madison, a Virginian, in the House of Representatives, convinced many of these states to ratify the Constitution on a promise that this list of rights would be added to the Constitution later. Originally designed by James Madison as a set of changes made directly to the body of the Constitution itself, the Bill of Rights ended up being approved as the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. Now let's talk about some of the most famous parts of the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment in the Bill of Rights is probably the most widely known. It contains 5 important freedoms. Do freedom of religion and freedom of speech sound familiar? What about freedom of the press, freedom of the people to peacefully assemble, or the freedom to offer the government a redress of grievances? These 5 rights make up the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, and thus the first set of rights of the Bill of Rights. The Second Amendment is also very famous. It provides the people of the United States with a freedom to bear arms. That means it's legal for us to own guns and other weapons for the purposes of self-defense, thanks to the Second Amendment. Have you ever heard someone say, "I plead the Fifth"? They might not want to answer your question. Well, this is in reference to the Fifth Amendment, which says, among other things, that no person will be required to testify against themselves in court. That person may not want to provide incriminating evidence against themselves, so they might just plead the Fifth and use their right not to say anything at all, rather than testify against themselves. Finally, the 10th Amendment states that anything not listed in the Constitution explicitly as a duty of the federal government will be left up to the states themselves to decide. Education is one of these things. That's why different states have different education systems. The Bill of Rights played a huge role in the ratification of our Constitution. I hope that today you learned thoroughly about who wrote it and why, and also what the Bill of Rights is itself. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.